My parents made a family tree for my sister's school project without me. When I asked why, my mom sighed, why include someone who's been nothing but a disappointment? My father added, you've never fit in and you never will. I slammed the door and said, mark my words. You'll beg for my help someday. 2 years later, I did something that ruined their lives. Now they're sending desperate messages. Oh, for God's sake, answer the phone. I don't even know where to start with this. I've been lurking on our Aida and our relationships for years, but never thought I'd be posting my own drama. Yet here I am sitting in my car outside my old apartment, hands literally shaking as I type this out. I always thought people exaggerated their stories on here for karma, but now I'm wondering if my family is just that toxic or if I'm overreacting. So I'm Alex 31M, the oldest child in my family, and I've always been the odd one out. Not in a cool, eccentric way, just the one who never quite fit the mold my parents expected. Mom Catherine, 57, and Dad Robert, 59, always made it clear that my younger sister Emma, 28, was the golden child. Everything revolved around her, birthdays, holidays, accomplishments, whatever. I grew up as background noise in my own home. At this point, I'm used to it. I show up for family stuff, keep my mouth shut, try to avoid drama. Last year, Emma's daughter Sophia, 10, had this school project to make a family tree. My mom texted asking if I could help since I'm good with computers. And Sophia likes me probably because I actually talk to her like she's a person, not a prop. I agreed to come over, thinking it'd be a nice evening with my niece. I get to their house, and Sophia's got her craft supplies spread out. Construction paper, glue sticks, printed photos my mom gathered from everyone's social media. Everything seemed normal. Then I noticed something weird about the layout. There's no branch for me. Nothing. Not a photo, not even my name. The tree goes from my parents straight to Emma, her husband Kevin, old parents Sophia, and they're so. I laugh it off at first, thinking it's just an oversight. Hey, did you forget someone? I ask, not even in an angry way, just pointing it out. My mom looks at me with this cold expression I'll never forget and shrugs. We thought it would be less confusing for Sophia this way. I'm like, what's confusing? She knows I'm her uncle. She calls me Uncle Alex. My dad doesn't even look up from his phone in the kitchen. Emma is sitting at the table and chimes in. It's just cleaner this way. It's not like you're really around anyway. Here's the thing. I live maybe 20 minutes away. I see Sophia more than any of their other relatives do. I'm at every birthday party. I've picked her up from school. I've babysat while Emma and Kevin went to concerts. So hearing this BS about me not being around was ridiculous. I stare at them for a second, genuinely wondering if this is some twisted joke. My mom doubles down. It's not personal. It just doesn't make sense to include someone who's been nothing but a disappointment. My dad finally looks up and adds, "You've never fit in, Alex, and you never will." I ask what that even means, and my mom gets irritated, saying I always make everything about myself. She stands up and starts cleaning like the conversation is over. Sophia hears us talking and comes over, asking where my picture is supposed to go. My mom tells her not to worry about it. She'll explain later. I try to keep my cool because I don't want to upset Sophia. But I can't just let this go. Not after years of being excluded from group texts, getting last-minute invites to family events, hearing family news from random Facebook posts. I say, so I'm just not family to you anymore? Emma sighs dramatically and says, you're always doing your own thing. Everyone knows you don't belong here. That's when I snapped. I pushed my chair back so hard it hit the wall and said, mark my words, you'll beg for my help someday. And don't cry when your perfect little world falls apart. My mom's face turned bright red. Get out if you're going to talk like that in front of Sophia. I grabbed my jacket and slammed the door on my way out. I sat in my car for like 20 minutes, just scrolling through my phone, trying not to text anyone because I didn't want to sound whiny. Almost called a friend, but it felt pathetic. Instead, I just started thinking about all the little ways they'd made me feel unwanted over the years. The family tree was just making visible what had been true all along. I texted my mom later. You've made your choice. Don't ask me for anything again. She left me on read. Emma texted saying I was overreacting and needed to grow up. I didn't reply. And that's where things stood. I was pissed, but also weirdly relieved. If they wanted me gone so badly, I'd show them what that actually looked like. UP date 6 months later. Didn't think I'd actually update, but some of the DMs I got made me realize I'm not as alone as I thought. Thanks for that, Fra. Anyway, here's what happened after the family tree incident. I stopped talking to them. Hard stop. Didn't block anyone, but didn't reply to texts either. Skipped family dinners. Declined last-minute invitations to watch Sophia's soccer games. My dad texted once with just a thumbs-up emoji, which is how he's always dealt with conflict. My mom tried calling once, but hung up after 2 rings. Emma didn't even do that much. Just posted some deep family is everything meme on Facebook and tagged everyone except me. Whatever. But here's where it gets interesting. My family had always relied on me for all their tech needs. I set up their Wi-Fi, managed their Netflix accounts, fixed their phones, updated their laptops, and also maintained their family business website. For context, my parents run this small business, not saying what it is, but trust me, nothing exciting. I built their website years ago, set up their online payment system, managed their customer database, handled all their email marketing. All unpaid, of course, just helping family. After they made it clear I wasn't family, I just stopped. Didn't answer when my dad called about his phone not syncing. Didn't update their website when it started showing errors. When my mom texted about why payments were bouncing, I left her on read. At first, it was kind of funny. I figured Emma would step up. But weeks went by, and their website was still broken. Emails were bouncing back. Their online payment system stopped working. Then my mom actually called, which she never does unless it's an emergency. She sounded annoyed, like I was slacking on chores. "We need your help. The site is down. Your father can't log in. I don't understand why you're ignoring us." I told her, "You said I'm not family, so go ask Emma." She hung up. Next day, I get a text from Emma. Seriously, grow up? I ignored it. The day after, Kevin, Emma's husband, DMs me on Instagram asking if I can just fix things for Sophia's sake because the business is how they pay for her activities. I didn't answer. A couple weeks later, I hear from a mutual friend that my parents were bad-mouthing me at some neighborhood party, saying I've abandoned them and left them in a difficult position. I guess their social circle always thought I was the good son for handling their tech issues, so now they're getting questions about why nothing's working. My mom texts again, this time with an actual apology, but one of those non-apologies that's more about how hard things are for her than about what they did. She says it's not too late to fix things if I just help out and family should stick together. I reply, if you want my help, you can pay me like you'd pay anyone else. She sends back a long message about how family shouldn't ask for money, how I'm being selfish, how I'm hurting everyone. I sent her my hourly rates anyway. She never replied. Meanwhile, Emma tried to fix the website herself. I could see she'd changed the password because I got a notification. Then a day later, I got an email from the hosting service saying the account was locked for suspicious activity. I laughed so hard, I nearly choked on my coffee. Kevin called me and said Emma was stressed out and I was being childish for not stepping in. I told him, I'm just doing what your family wanted. He got quiet and hung up. At this point, things started breaking down for real. Their payment processor stopped working, emails bounced back, and their regular customers started texting me because my number was still listed on the site Lemao. I told anyone who asked that I wasn't involved anymore. Sophia's school sent home a form for some online fundraiser, and apparently Emma couldn't figure out how to access it, so she tried to guilt trip me again. I didn't reply. Emma started getting more aggressive. She showed up at my apartment one night, banging on the door, saying I was destroying their business and ruining Sophia's life. I told her to leave. She called me an asshole and stormed off. The next day, I got a long message from my mom about escalating tensions and how I needed to apologize for making Emma upset. I didn't bother replying. I know this sounds petty, but honestly, I'm just done being free labor. I spent years making everything work for them, never getting a thank you, just a shrug or a that's your job. They treated me like a spare part until they needed me. Then suddenly I was essential. Every time I set a boundary, they acted like I was being unreasonable. Kevin texts me every few days, always bringing up Sophia, like I'm supposed to care more about her than about my own self-respect. I do care about Sophia, but I'm not her parent, and I'm not going to be walked over just because my sister can't figure out how email works. I haven't seen any of them in person since Emma tried to confront me. I blocked her number after that. I know they're talking about me to everyone. One of my cousins messaged me on Snapchat asking if everything was okay. Said mom's been telling people I'm going through something and acting out. I just said I was fine, just busy. Anyway, I get the feeling this is just the beginning. If they think I'm coming back just because things are difficult, they're in for a surprise. I'm not the family tech support they can ignore until it's convenient. And if they want to see what life is like without me, I'm going to make sure they get the full experience. UP Date 2 1 year later. Didn't expect my last update to get as much attention as it did. Some of you are wild with the DMs. Shout out to the person who sent me a meme of a burning family tree. Things have gotten even messier. After about a month of complete silence from my family, I started getting weird calls from numbers I didn't recognize. Turns out my parents had been asking around if anyone could reset the website for them. My cousin Tyler called saying he was at some cookout where my dad was complaining about kids these days not respecting family and how their business was under attack. Not even kidding. Like I'm some hacker or something. Then my mom called out of nowhere. Didn't even say hi, just started in about how they were getting late notices and threatening letters from the bank. Did I do something to their accounts? I told her straight, I haven't touched anything. You told me I'm not family, remember? She got quiet, then asked if I'd at least talk to Emma because she's really stressed. I said no. She hung up. Next thing I know, I'm getting texts from Emma saying I'm ruining everything and need to fix what I broke. I didn't break anything. I just stopped being their tech safety net. Some background. My parents refinanced their house to invest more in the business a couple years ago. I found that out because my mom bragged about taking a risk for the future. They always assumed everything would work out because that's how it had always been. I'd bail them out, patch things up, and they'd move on. Not this time. Kevin showed up at my apartment with Sophia. She handed me a drawing she'd made, and Kevin stood in the hallway asking if I could just make a few calls so the payments would start going through again. He said Sophia was worried they'd have to move. I told him I wasn't the one who created the situation. He tried to lecture me about family loyalty. I just closed the door. Emma started getting nasty. She left a voicemail saying if I didn't fix things, everyone would know what kind of selfish piece of trash I was. I didn't reply. I ran into my dad at the grocery store. He tried to corner me by the produce section and started lecturing me about how I was destroying the family. People were staring. I told him to leave me alone, and when he wouldn't, I abandoned my shopping cart and left. The next week, my mom sent a group text to me, Emma, Kevin, and my dad, basically begging for help, saying the bank was calling nonstop and they were at risk of losing everything. I replied, "You made your choice. Deal with it." My dad called and left a voicemail threatening to take legal action if I didn't restore the business. I played it back for a friend because it was so ridiculous. He has no idea how any of it works. The only reason they had a functioning website was because of me. I didn't sabotage anything. I just stopped helping. Their social circle started noticing something was wrong. People from their church group started reaching out to me, asking if I was okay because my mom was telling everyone I'd gone off the deep end. I told them I was fine, just not involved with my family anymore. Word started spreading, and my parents stopped posting happy family stuff online. No more group photos. No look at Sophia's soccer trophy posts. People were putting two and two together. I went by their house once to pick up some old belongings they'd been threatening to donate. My dad was outside yelling into his phone about how can you do this to us? And we're not bad people. He saw me, hung up, and just glared. Didn't say a word. I went in, grabbed my boxes, and headed out. My mom tried to stop me. She grabbed my arm and started crying, saying I was breaking her heart. I pulled away and told her, "You broke mine first." She slapped me hard across the face and said I was dead to her. I left without another word. After that, I started hearing from family friends asking what was going on, why my parents seemed so stressed, why Emma looked like she hadn't slept in weeks. I told them the truth. I used to help them because I thought that's what family did, but they made it clear I wasn't family, so I stopped. I found out from a mutual friend that my parents had tried to get another loan to cover their business problems, but got denied because of mispayments and bad credit. They always assumed I'd fix things before it got that far. Emma tried to update the website herself and ended up locking them out of their main account completely. They lost access to all their customer information. Kevin posted a long rant on Facebook about loyalty and betrayal without using my name, but everyone who knows us understood who he meant. I thought I'd feel guilty watching their lives unravel, but honestly, I don't. Not after how they treated me. Not after years of being the backup plan, the fixer, the one who's always too much or not enough, depending on what they needed that day. Emma tried one last time. She showed up at my door at 11 p.m., banging and yelling until a neighbor threatened to call the police. She left a note under my door saying, "Our parents might lose the house. Is that what you wanted?" Yeah, maybe it is. I'm done being their safety net. Final oop date 2 years after the family tree incident. I thought things would fizzle out after my last update, but instead, it's like every day brings some new meltdown from my family. If you told me 2 years ago that I'd be getting bombarded with desperate calls from people who once said I didn't belong, I'd have laughed in your face. It hit me that things had really changed when my mom started texting me at 3 a.m. I was up playing video games and ignoring my phone, but she kept calling over and over. I finally blocked the number. The next day, I woke up to dozens of missed calls, voicemails, and emails with the subject line urgent. The bank situation had finally caught up with them. My cousin Tyler texted saying my mom was crying at church, telling everyone she was about to lose the house. Not a word about what actually caused the situation, just that Alex abandoned us, and now we're ruined. I went on with my week. Went to work, hung out with friends, watched basketball. Random people from high school started messaging me asking if everything was okay at home because your mom's been telling people you're having some kind of breakdown. I just said I was fine and changed the subject. Then I started getting weird messages from numbers I didn't recognize, all with the same message. "Can you please talk to your mom? She's really upset. Emma is worried sick. Please think about Sophia." I learned that my parents and Emma couldn't keep up appearances anymore. The business was collapsing, and they were months behind on mortgage payments. I know this because the mail with all their late notices and warnings kept coming to my old address. They never bothered updating my info after I moved out. I just recycled it all without opening anything. The moment I realized they were truly desperate was when Emma texted me a photo of Sophia looking sad, holding one of her old drawings. The caption read, "She misses her uncle. Please just help us. We'll do anything." I almost replied, but caught myself. It was just more manipulation, using Sophia every time they wanted something, pretending it was about her feelings and not their poor choices. I texted Emma back, "You made your bed, now lie in it?" She replied a dozen times, calling me heartless, saying family is supposed to forgive, that Sophia was the real victim. Kevin called me in tears, saying they might have to move in with his parents, that everything is falling apart. I told him, "You all said I wasn't family when it was convenient. I'm just returning the favor." He hung up. The calls didn't stop. My mom tried calling from new numbers. My dad texted me for the first time in years. "We were wrong. Please come home." Every time I saw their names on my phone, I blocked the number. New numbers would appear, voicemails, emails, even a letter in the mail that was just pages of my mom begging for forgiveness. I left it unopened for a week before tossing it. People in their social circle started figuring out what was happening. My parents' perfect family facade was crumbling, and they were getting the cold shoulder from friends who'd finally seen their true colors. A family friend who's always stayed neutral texted me, "Not taking sides, but your folks are in a bad way." I told him I gave them every chance. They chose this path. For anyone wondering, no, I don't feel guilty. After years of being the backup, the scapegoat, the free IT department, the emotional punching bag, I finally stopped giving a damn, and I feel lighter than I have in years. I know Sophia's innocent in all this, and that does bother me. But I refuse to let them use her as a pawn forever. She has two parents who can explain to her why things are a mess. The last time anyone got through to me was when Emma showed up at my place again, pounding on my door. I answered only because my neighbor was about to call the cops. She was sobbing, barely coherent. "Please, you're my brother. I'm sorry. We need you." I told her, You said I don't belong. So now you get to see what that's like. She tried to push past me into my apartment, and I blocked her. She stood there crying for a minute, then turned and left. I closed the door and locked it. My phone still gets random calls from numbers I don't know. Voicemails from my mom begging and apologizing, promising things will change, offering money, whatever it takes. I delete them all. I don't even listen anymore. I know some people will say I'm being cruel, but if you knew how many years I spent being treated like I was invisible until they needed something, you'd understand. I'm not here for the their family speeches. I did everything I could for years. And when they made it clear I didn't matter, I finally started believing them. So now it's them calling, begging, promising, and me just living my life. I don't know what the next chapter is, but for once, I'm not the one scrambling to fix everything. If you're reading this and you're the black sheep of your family, just know you don't have to stay in the story they write for you. You can walk away. And sometimes, yeah, they'll realize what they lost, but that doesn't mean you owe them a damn thing.